Well, guys, man, we knew that RG3, Robert Griffin III, was going to get some backlash for the statements he made over the flagrant foul that Caitlin Clark had on Angel Reese. And he tried to spin it and say that Angel Reese completely hates Caitlin Clark. Now he has to face the music. And we're going to unpack all that here next, here on the Simply Ball Dropping Podcast. Well, guys, man, RG3, he brought this on his own self when he misspoke about Angel Reese and tried to spin the narrative and add gasoline to the fire and says that Angel Reese hates Caitlin Clark and he can see it in her eyes. And he said it's not just about basketball, it is pure hate. Now he has been receiving constant backlash from a lot of media personnel, and it's making Robert Griffin III look bad, and he's been exposed. Now he has to face the music. Now, Robert Griffin III, he said some things about the incident that took place in the Fever and Chicago Sky basketball game on Saturday. And he went to his Twitter X and he posted a comment, and people did not like what RG3 said. A lot of people said that RG3 was right, but that's the fan base that was behind that by saying that RG3 was absolutely correct. Now let's take a look at what RG3 tweeted out on Twitter X. RG3 said, after watching Caitlin Clark's flagrant foul on Angel Reese, in the aftermath, there is no way Angel Reese can continue to lie that she doesn't like Caitlin Clark. I know what hatred looks like. Angel Reese hates Caitlin Clark. Not some basketball rivalry hate either. Hate. Robert Griffin III, he was disingenuous in what he said. And then somebody flamed him. Stop City said, not merely a bad take given who you are. It's journalistic malpractice, even if it's just a tweet. If you missed last year, you know there is a sizable racist delusion Caitlin Clark mob that has produced endless hate and death threats toward Angel, and you are pouring gasoline on all that, feeding a monster. So that person already has given RG3 backlash for his bad take and him running straight to Twitter to get the engagement that he wanted. Because with that particular tweet, he got over like 3 million engagements on that particular tweet. But when you sit back and look at it for what it is, and you have a moment to see what happened in that instance, it happens all the time in the sport of basketball. Flagrant fouls happen, hard fouls happen, and the person that gets the hard foul placed on them, they have a natural reaction of trying to go after the culprit that committed that hard foul. Then also, the ref and other players, they get involved and they separate each other. And we move on. The refs will go look at the play to see if it can be upgraded to a flagrant foul, which in this particular instance, the ref got it right. The ref went to the monitor, he looked at it, he gave it a flagrant foul. There's different angles that we've seen of this particular play, and there's one backside angle that makes the play look more egregious than what it looked like when it first happened. It was a play on the ball, but then it was the shove in the back to knock Angel Reese on the ground. A lot of people said that she flopped, which I find that disingenuous because she didn't flop. The momentum of Caitlin Clark by shoving her put her to the ground, Angel Reese popped up, and she responded like any other athlete responds. It happens all the time in basketball. That's just two competitors going at each other. Caitlin Clark said it was nothing malicious. Angel Reese at the post-game press conference said the refs got it right. Basketball play, we move on. But see, it's people like RG3 that wanted to keep putting gasoline on the fire and keep engulfing this flame. So now RG3 has been called out by Ryan Clark, and he did it so gracefully. And now RG3 is going on to his podcast playing victim and saying that Ryan Clark was out of bounds. Ryan Clark said nothing wrong. Ryan Clark was spot on with his analysis. He was spot on with his soliloquy. So guys, what we're going to do, we're going to take a listen to what Ryan Clark said on the Pivot podcast. And shout out to Ryan Clark and the guys over there at Pivot for giving us this great audio footage. So let's take a listen to what Ryan Clark had to say.
RG3 called what Angel Reese did hate. He said you could see the hate on her face for Caitlin Clark. I'm not really sure when we moved in to being able to read the expressions of a person and know their intent, know their character, know their perspective. But he does understand hate, because I think he also understands the hate of self. When you look at the play, which is all we can speak to as professionals, all we can speak to as analysts, Angel Reese pushed one of her teammates. Caitlin Clark had a hard foul, which is part of basketball. I feel like it was assessed correctly. And Angel Reese's reaction is the sort of reaction you get in a situation when you feel like you took an intentionally hard foul. That's competitiveness. That's rivalry. That's not hate. And so now, though, when RG3 jumps on to the hate train or to the angry train, and now follows along with what we saw from Keith Olbermann, what we saw from Dave Portnoy, as they poured on to Angel Reese to make her the villain in Caitlin Clark's heroic or hero story. Right. The one thing we know about RG3 is he's not having conversations at his home about what Black women have to endure in this country, about what young Black women and athletes like Angel Reese have had to deal with being on the opposite side of Caitlin Clark's rise and ascension into stardom. Now, when you look at it, I think A'ja Wilson is the face of the league. A'ja Wilson is the best player in the league. Caitlin Clark is the most important player in the WNBA. And a ton of her fandom has come along with some racial bias or some racial pieces to why people love her so much. And so now, if you're RG3, when is the last time within your household you've had a conversation about what she's dealing with? You haven't been able to do that because in both of your marriages, you've been married to white women. You haven't had opportunities to have those conversations to educate you on what they're feeling, what Black women deal with, what they're seeing when they think of a young Angel Reese. And the whole time that he's mimicking Angel Reese and bobbing his head and moving his neck while he's doing this whole piece, his wife is in the back amening and clapping. And so to me, it's just another situation that now this young lady has to deal with. When I worked with RG3, he would make all of these sort of corny jokes about milk and how much he loved it and how important it was. And he always points out on social media the color of his wife's skin, as if the color of her skin is what makes her special, as if the color of her skin is what makes her a good wife. I've met the lady, I've had a conversation with her. Right. I think she's more than that. But it also leads to what Black women deal with a lot from Black men who have chose to date or marry outside of their race. They always feel like they have to go the extra mile to prop up the woman that they're married or the woman that they're with over Black women by denigrating Black women. I feel like we should have an opportunity to move past that and understand that Angel Reese can be great in her own right, as Caitlin Clark is as well. Caitlin Clark is a likable and lovable superstar. She pays homage to the stars of the past. She pays homage to the Black women that have come before her. And now she is carrying the mantle forward. So there's no need to pin those two against each other and paint them based on stereotypical tropes. And I think this is what I like RG3 to know, that no matter how much he continues to echo the microaggressions of racists, he'll be no less black than me.
Man, Brian Clark was spot on. Brian Clark said some very important things in his whole soliloquy, and he pretty much summed it up. And see, Robert Griffin III, he went about it wrong because a lot of people are focused in on what you was saying about this black young lady, and then you had your wife sitting in the background on the couch, kikiing and kumbayaing, and that pissed a lot of people off. And like Ryan Clark said, with Caitlin Clark, it comes a lot of racist fan base, and these are the people that are creating these narratives. And Ryan Clark is saying, RG3, you know better. So for Ryan Clark to come out and just put it perfectly, now it seems that RG3 wants to play victim. So you guys let me know what y'all think down in the comment section on what Ryan Clark said. He was spot on. Spot on. If you're not subscribed to the channel, do me a favor, hit the subscribe button, turn your post notifications on so you know every time Simply Ball drops another hot banger. Just in case I forgot, tell a friend to tell a friend. Might not be for you, but it might be for them. And this is going to wrap up another episode of the Simply Ball Dropping Podcast. I'm your host and the man behind the mic, K-Sap. We're going to catch you on the next one. Deuces.
Thanks for listening to the Simply Ball Dropping Podcast. Be sure to subscribe, like, and share on all major platforms.
That's all, folks.